Pixar villains always lose, but some of their downfalls were way darker than you remember. One was crushed by the very kingdom he wanted to rule. Another spent decades chasing a discovery, only to die because of it. And one villain didn't just lose everything, he was erased forever. Starting with Chick Hicks. Unlike most Pixar villains, Chick didn't lose his life. He lost something that mattered just as much: respect. After crashing the king to win the Piston Cup, Chick finally got the trophy he'd always wanted. The problem? Nobody cared. The crowd booed him. Lightning McQueen became the hero, and Chick's biggest victory was instantly overshadowed. The racer who spent his entire career chasing glory ended up remembered for how he won.
Easy with the confetti. What's going on? Come on, snap some.
Next came Sterling, a businessman who saw Lightning McQueen as a product, not a racer, not a champion, a brand. The moment Sterling decided McQueen was too old to compete, he started focusing on profit instead. That decision backfired. McQueen found success without him, and Sterling lost the one thing that made Rust as valuable in the first place. The man who thought he understood the future completely misjudged it. Skinner already had everything, and somehow that still wasn't enough. The moment he learned Linguini was Gusto's true heir, he saw him as a threat. Instead of protecting the restaurant, Skinner became obsessed with protecting himself. He tried to hide the truth, take control of the business, and remove anyone standing in his way. None of it worked. The truth came out. Skinner lost the restaurant, lost his authority, and lost everything he was trying to protect. The harder he fought to hold on to success, the faster it slipped away. Philip Sherman made one mistake. He underestimated how far a father would go. After capturing Nemo, Philip had no intention of letting him leave. Meanwhile, Marlin crossed an entire ocean to get his son back, and by the time the journey was over, Nemo escaped, the tank gang escaped, and Philip lost the very fish he worked so hard to keep.
The animals are gone mad!
Then there was Hercule. For years, Hercule loved being the center of attention. Everyone knew his name. Everyone knew his reputation. Then one race changed everything. As Luca and Alberto challenged him, his confidence quickly turned into arrogance. And eventually, the people who once looked up to him saw who he really was: a bully. Someone who only cared about himself. The crowd that once admired Hercule had completely turned against him. The respect he spent years demanding was never real to begin with.
Oh, Piccolino!
Not every Pixar villain ended up losing. Gabby Gabby is proof of that. For years, she believed one thing stood between her and happiness: her broken voice box. So she manipulated Woody in an attempt to get it. Eventually, she succeeded, only to discover the voice box was never the real problem. By the end of the movie, Gabby finally found what she'd been searching for all along: a kid to love her. The toy who spent years chasing a new voice actually needed a new beginning. The monkey never expected to be the next one eliminated. As Lotso's security guard, he spent his days watching every corner in Sunnyside, making sure nobody escaped. He was one of the most feared toys in the daycare. Then Woody and Slinky launched their plan. Within minutes, the monkey was wrapped in tape, locked inside a drawer, and completely removed from the game. Alpha had a very different problem. As Charles Muntz's most trusted dog, he spent years leading the entire pack. The others listened to him, followed his orders without question. Then everything unraveled during a fight with Doug. Alpha ended up wearing the cone of shame, and his voice translator was damaged. The result? The intimidating leader of the pack suddenly sounded ridiculous, and the dogs who once respected him started laughing at him instead. The leader of the pack became its biggest joke. Go4 spent over 700 years following orders. No questions, no hesitation. As Auto's most loyal assistant, its entire purpose was protecting the directive. Then one fight changed everything. When Captain Macria challenged Auto, Go4 rushed in to help. Seconds later, it was kicked through the cockpit window and sent crashing beside the pool. The robot that spent centuries protecting the mission and was destroyed trying to save it. Auto took things even further. Unlike Go4, he wasn't following orders. He was the one enforcing them. Auto controlled every major decision aboard the Axiom. Even after Earth became habitable again, he refused to let humanity return. Then Wall-E delivered the plant, and for the first time, Odo's control started slipping away. After centuries of running the ship, he was finally deactivated by the captain he tried to overrule. The robot designed to protect humanity's future became the very thing standing in its way. Randall had one goal: beat Sully, no matter what it took. That obsession eventually pushed him far beyond competition. He helped power a machine designed to scare children by force, risked everything, and convinced himself he would finally come out on top. Instead, his entire plan was exposed. Randall ended up trapped in the human world, where he was mistaken for an alligator and attacked before being dragged away. The monster who spent his life trying to scare others became the one everyone feared. Randall wasn't the only monster willing to cross the line. Waternoose crossed it too. As the head of Monsters, Inc., he believed he was saving the company. And when Screams stopped producing enough energy, he approved a plan that should never have happened: kidnapping children. Then Mike and Sully exposed everything. Almost instantly, Waternoose lost his company, his position, and his reputation. The monster who claimed he would do anything to save the business ended up destroying it himself. To Al McWiggin, Woody wasn't a toy. He was a fortune, a rare collectible worth more money than most people would ever see. So after stealing Woody from Andy, Al planned to sell the entire Roundup gang to a museum overseas. Everything was set. The deal was ready. Then Woody escaped. The collection fell apart, the museum deal collapsed, and Al lost the biggest sale of his life. The man who treated toys like merchandise ended up with nothing to sell. Stinky Pete wanted something different. He wanted to be chosen. Unlike Woody and Jesse, Pete had spent his entire life inside a box, never played with, never loved. When the opportunity came to join a museum in Japan, he became willing to betray everyone around him to get there. It almost worked. Then Woody exposed Pete's dark side, and just like that, Pete's future disappeared. Instead of ending up in a museum, he was strapped to a little girl's backpack and forced into the very life he had spent years trying to avoid. The screenslaver built an entire plan around one thing: control. Using mind control technology, she turned superheroes into puppets and nearly took over the world. For a moment, it looked like nobody could stop her. Then Elastigirl uncovered the truth. The operation collapsed. Her victims were freed, and the screenslaver was taken into custody. The villain who controlled everyone else couldn't control the outcome. Jackson Storm thought he was untouchable. As the face of racing's new generation, he had spent years leaving veteran racers behind. Nobody could catch him. Then Cruz Ramirez started closing the gap. For the first time, Storm got nervous. He mocked her, insulted her, and when that didn't work, he even tried forcing her into the wall. It still wasn't enough. Cruz passed him anyway and handed him the first major loss of his career. A racer who thought nobody could beat him lost to the one person he never took seriously.
You're angry! I said I'm not angry!
Mordu lost far more than his life. Before becoming the giant bear and brave, he was a prince, a future king, someone who already had everything, but he wanted more. When the time came to share power with his brothers, Mordu chose a dark curse instead. The curse made him stronger than anyone around him, but it took everything in return. By the time he realized what he'd become, it was already too late. During the final battle, a massive stone monument collapsed and crushed him. The cursed dragon was never supposed to exist. It was created by greed. Over time, an ancient curse transformed a hidden treasure into a massive dragon made of stone and debris. And the more treasure it guarded, the stronger it became. By the end of the movie, the creature had become nearly unstoppable. Then Ian found its weakness. One strike, straight through the heart, and the curse was gone. Charles Muntz spent decades trying to prove he was right. After being ridiculed for claiming he discovered a rare creature, the famous explorer became obsessed. What started as determination slowly turned into obsession. Then obsession turned into paranoia. For years, Muntz searched the wilderness, refusing to give up. Then Kevin appeared, the very discovery he had spent his entire life chasing. And that discovery became his downfall. During the final battle, Muntz fell from his own airship while trying to capture her. The thing he spent decades searching for ended up costing him everything. Lotso built an entire kingdom on fear. At Sunnyside, every toy answered to him. Anyone who stepped out of line paid the price. For a while, the system worked. Lotso stayed in power. Everyone else stayed scared. Then Woody exposed the truth. The toys learned what Lotso had really done. and everything collapsed. His followers turned against him, his lies were revealed, and after barely escaping the incinerator, Lotso ended up strapped to the front of a garbage truck. The toy who spent years controlling everyone else lost control of his own future. Hopper never believed the ants would fight back. Why would they? He was bigger, stronger, and completely convinced they needed him. That confidence became his biggest mistake. Once the colony finally stood up to him, Hopper found himself somewhere he had never expected to be, helpless. For the first time in his life, he wasn't the predator anymore. Moments later, a hungry bird swooped down, grabbed him, and disappeared into the darkness. The grasshopper who spent his life terrorizing others became prey himself. Ernesto de la Cruz got away with murder for decades. After poisoning Hector and stealing his songs, Ernesto became the most celebrated musician in Mexico, a legend, an icon, a hero to millions, and nobody knew the truth. Then Miguel exposed everything. In a matter of minutes, Ernesto lost his reputation, lost his fans, lost the legacy he spent a lifetime building. That wasn't the end. Seconds later, a giant bell came crashing down and crushed him for the second time. The man who stole someone else's life to become a legend ended up losing his own forever. Then there's Syndrome, the villain who came closer to winning than almost anyone else. He didn't start out evil. He started out inspired. As a kid, he idolized Mr. Incredible, wanted to be just like him. Then one rejection changed everything. Admiration became obsession, obsession became revenge, and revenge became a plan years in the making. Syndrome built incredible technology, tracked down superheroes, eliminated them one by one, and came closer to victory than nearly every Pixar villain before him. For a moment, it looked like he had actually won. Then, he made one mistake. He underestimated Jack Jack. Moments later, Syndrome was pulled into the engine of his own jet and disappeared instantly. The villain who believed he could control everything was ultimately destroyed by his own creation. And that's what makes Pixar villains so memorable. Most of them weren't defeated by luck. They were defeated by the very thing that made them villains in the first place.